So once you've organized yourself in a seated position, you can choose cross-legged or on your knees or maybe even on a chair. Close the eyes and just spend a moment to feel the floor. Feel your breathing. Stretch the arms to the side. The fingertips touch the floor, so we remind ourselves of earth. Inhale, raise the arms up high. Exhale, turning onto the left side. Inhale, center. Exhaling onto the right side. Breathing along the spine. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Coming to the end of the breath. Inhale, center. Exhaling right to the end of the breath. Center. Touching the hand onto the left side, dropping the body onto the right, so you can let the breath move into the right side of the body. Relax left, open right with the breath. Giving weight into the stretch. Rolling onto the other side as you touch on the right side, relax here and let the breath move into the left side of the body. So the stretch happens because we shift weight, we organize weight of our body and we direct our breath. Centering, rolling the neck, rolling the head, gentle and with respect for the upper vertebrae of the spine. Stretching the arms to the side. Inhale, center, cross the fingers and stretch the arms through, raising the shoulders maybe for a moment without lifting the heart, softening the face. Exhaling as you curl back through the spine, chin to chest and push the arms forward. Inhale, open the front of the body. Exhale, open the back. Inhale, the front opens. Exhale, back. It's always possible to pause a video for a moment and just stay a bit longer in an exercise. You can then move forward. Just support yourself on the knees, turning one hand so the fingers turn back to your center. Use the fingers themselves, the points of the fingers, fingertips, to press them into the floor to feel into the stretch rather than giving weight of your body into the stretch. You're going to organize yourself into the tabletop. Give yourself a moment just to sense the floor as you then roll through the cat-cow, opening up. Front, inhale, opening up back, exhale. Keeping it moving, keeping the breath moving, keeping the breath soft. If the very gentlest of ujjayas helps you to concentrate on your breath, then use it. Try not to just enforce ujjayi for the sake of it. Stretch the arms through as you sit back into Balasana Child's Pose, releasing into the head, through the chest and the pelvis. Drop the weight, feeling earth. I'm going to stretch through the side of the body from here, moving with the hands over to the left side. Bring the left a little closer to the side of the body, and the right stretching through. Drop the head, chest and pelvis. Centering, moving into the stretch. Just drop the body into the stretch and remain there. Just allow it to be what it is. Finding an interest in the flow of the breath. Interest in something that remains constant. Stretching the arms through, coming back into the center of Child's Pose, pulling up into the tabletop, tuck the toes, pull the knees away from the floor, just pushing through the heels. And as you exhale, moving yourself back into Down Dog. Opening, stretching the legs. Bending into both knees, inhale, exhale, pushing through. And stabilizing here in Down Dog. Wide back, clear hands, strong hands. Strong arms, trusting the hands, the arms, the sides of the body to support. Breathing along the spine. What does that mean? Sometimes it's nice to not have exact cues. It leaves open our chance to explore. Stepping forward into Uttanasana, organizing the weight of the body over the feet, dispersing it over the feet, releasing into the crown of the head. Taking your time, inhaling, rolling up to standing position. Inhale as you turn the gaze and stretch the arms, finding a way into Tadasana, mountain pose. Quiet feet, trusting in this contact and not needing change. Relaxing into the pelvic floor. Inhale, stretching up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, folding in Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthening the back. Exhale, folding in Uttanasana to the end of the breath. Placing the hands on the floor, weight yourself back, down dog. Organizing here and stabilizing for a moment. Just saying, okay, body remains quiet. Accepting the body for a moment as it is. And watching what else is moving. Now, breath. Rolling forward, put the knees on the floor, sit yourself through child's pose, pull the belly and the chest forward, laying yourself flat on the floor, stretch the legs, root through the backs of the feet, soft hands and shoulders as you inhale for cobra, reaching through the heart space, through the breastbone, to the horizon, softening the tongue in the face, keeping the strength in the lower body, rooting through the legs here. Folding back into the mat, giving the work away, and then walking back, down dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the nose, round back. Inhale, stretch the legs, stretch the back. Exhaling, pull the knee into the nose, rounding back. Inhale, feel the floor. Keep the leg long for a moment. Exhale, step forward. Put the feet between the hands. Right knee on the floor, stretch the toes. Perhaps feeling into the stretch of Anjani Asana for a moment, giving weight into the stretch and then collecting, so pulling a little away from the stretch as you raise the arms and the upper body. Just breathing here. Hands to the mat. Tuck the back toes, pull the toes away on the left foot so you have the heel rooted and stretch through the left leg. Not completely, keeping the knee open. So we think that the joints of the body are like doors, keeping them open, giving weight of the upper body into the stretch. So just organizing the legs and then give a little weight to the upper body. Coming up, back into Anjani Asana form, a little bit higher. You can think kind of a 90 degrees, nice 90 degrees angle in the front leg. Turning towards the left thigh, place the elbow outside of the thigh. The hands can be like here in Hakini Mudra. It's a little bit softer on the shoulders. And if you want, you can choose the Anjali Mudra here. Also possible, of course, if you feel good, if you feel comfortable with that, stretch the arm through, going deeper into the contact with the upper thigh, and put the fingertips on the floor, or maybe you also have a block here in your home practice. You can stretch the left arm overhead, and then we're going to stretch through the right leg, raising the hips and shifting the knee a little forward, coming out of the pose, stretching both legs through, not quite to the end, so thinking at every moment we're trying to keep the doors, the joints just a little bit open. Right foot pulls in, flat to the floor, dropping the upper body into the stretch. Feet and hips, the work is here. Parsvottanasana. When you're ready, so at any moment you can pause the video, stay longer somewhere, or you can just enjoy that the video itself is taking time in a pose, allowing yourself to breathe into that pose. Exhale, folding then into Uttanasana. Organize yourself here. Maybe take the arms behind the thighs or behind the calves. Take the elbows with the hands as the first variation. So we have a kind of bind which brings a little stretch through the back, opening the back. Close the eyes, rooting the feet, softening the belly. When you're ready, step back into down dog. Flowing forward, plank, high plank, long plank. Not too short, so set the hands already good position so that you have some room, maybe for them moving through the floor, what we're doing here, into the cobra. Releasing the hands, they're not necessary here. Keeping work in the lower body, in the back, in the breath. Trusting in the breath. Trusting in the mind to send the right ideas to the body. So we also train how we use the mind to send the right pictures, or pictures that work, or pictures that help us find lightness. Hands back on the floor. Release yourself here and release the work into the mat. Tuck the toes and push yourself back. Down dog. Move on the other side, so we have the right leg high, inhale, exhale, pull the knee into the nose, round back, inhale, stretch the leg. We have still a very wide back, so not trying to open the front of the body too much here. Exhale, knee to face. Third round, stretching through, pause for a moment, and then take a step between your hands, left knee to the mat, stretching the toes, Anjaneyasana form, collecting as you exhale, getting strength in the lower body and softness in the upper body. Just breathing here, giving yourself time to find what is interesting about watching the breath. As you come out, move back, tuck the back toes, pull the front toes a little bit back, root through the heel, folding into the stretch. Don't try to go past a good stretch. If it's already arriving, maybe just allow it to be there. Coming up, taking a bit more a stable form of Anjaneyasana, so a little higher. We're going to turn towards the right leg, elbow outside. Organizing the hands, the arms, the shoulders in the variation that you choose now for the bind. Something that's stable, something that feels good in the shoulders and the lower back. And making sure that there's space for the breath to move. So the breath is like a checking in. If the breath can still touch the lower part of the axis, the breath axis down in the pelvic floor, then it's like a confirmation that we haven't shut anything off along the way, along the axis. So our breath gives us the clues. Is the checking in, how we organize the body. Moving out of the pose, we pull the back foot forward, setting it flat to the mat so we can organize ourselves for Parsvottanasana. Long-legged form, pulling the right hip a little bit back. The work is from the feet. Folding in and just breathing here. More back, less front. More back, less front. One time, stepping forward, folding in Uttanasana, organizing the weight over the feet, curling into the crown of the head. Wrapping perhaps, going deeper in the pose, binding, which also opens the back. The work is not strictly along the spine. The work is predominantly from the feet into the pelvis. We use the arms and the shoulders to open. Oops. Rolling up, standing position, inhale as you turn the gaze. Coming back, coming to mountain pose, the symbol of the mountain. Inhale, stretching up. Exhale, falling in Uttanasana to the end of the breath. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, Uttanasana. Walking back, down dog. Taking a moment. Breathing here, along. Rolling forward. Plank position. Stable plank, finding the lightness within it. So if you can stay a little bit longer in the plank, do. And try and touch lightness. Think lightness. Chaturanga. Same idea here. If you can stay longer in Chaturanga, come there and think lightness. Try and find it. Up dog. Keeping the attention low. Wide shoulders. Push with the hands. Open joints. Exhale. Down dog. Softening the breath, body. Just softening the mouth, softening the tongue, opening the throat, and keeping the space open for the breath. And take a step forward with the right foot, organizing for Warrior One high lunge. Keeping it just high enough so that maybe you feel a gentle Mula Bandha. So we don't have to work if we want to put Mula Bandha here. Opening for Warrior Two, just turning the back foot so that it lands to the floor. Keeping a soft heart. We're going to push through into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Keeping the joints open, the feet, concentrate on the feet into pelvis, keeping a wide lower back. So if you want to have more back than front, staying high enough so that it remains simple, it remains safe, and you can be sure of that, so you can just come to the breath. Going to turn then the right foot into the parallel position, Prasarita Padottanasana. Take your time, a couple of breath cycles to fold into the forward fold here. It's the same kind of work like in Uttanasana. It comes from the feet pushing into the pelvis, gaining height by rooting deeper. The upper body is free. And the exhale moving over the back. It's always nice to perhaps close the eyes when you're a bit longer in a stretch, when you're a bit longer in a pose, be it a warming pose, be it a cooling pose. Just going a bit more into the private experience of it. I'm going to walk the hand over to the left foot, so I start the series till turning backwards on the mat. Push yourself up into the Warrior One high lunge position. High enough so that you can really work into the hips. Try and find a comfortable pose here, comfortable position where the hips are square. The heart is placed over the pelvis and it's easy. Shoulders are easy. Opening into Warrior Two, heart over the pelvis. It's easy, it feels normal. Trying to find that daily experience in the spine. So the body can take all kinds of shapes, all kinds of forms. Here we call them asanas. But we try and find some kind of daily experience in the breathing. Trikonasana. Trikonasana, coming into down dog. Also in down dog, it's possible, it's nice sometimes to close the eyes, just breathe here. Raise the right leg and then cross it behind the left leg, so you have both feet on the floor here. It's very likely that you might need to bend the knees a bit more, and don't force both feet flat on the floor. It's unlikely. It might happen, but it's unlikely. Walk your hands back to the feet. We try to drop the head. Probably keep the fingertips high on the floor just to support yourself, so you don't work too much in the balancing muscles, which might here then cause some unpleasant feeling. If you're feeling strong here, then take the hands behind the legs and also go for the balance. With the hands forward, release the right foot from the crossed position and take the foot forward. So here we're coming into the pigeon pose. Now first I'll show you with the foot pulled in towards the pelvis, like often, probably for most people, is the better option. strong shin. So we can imagine that we're rolling the right shin into the floor. The back toes are tucked so we can get a little bit of height into the pelvis. We can just a little bit push away from the floor and thus organize the pelvis for the sake of the lower back. Bring the sensations into the lower back. We don't want to let the belly go here, pretty much not ever. There's always just a little bit of work here when we're in this kind of position in the lower belly, supporting, protecting, keeping the attention here, keeping it long, keeping the lower back as wide as possible. Yeah, you can also now walk the hands forward. So here now I'll show you the variation, which is a softer variation, a little bit more restorative and a bit more available. You can pull the back leg in now, and we're dropping into the right hip. We're laying the upper body along the right thigh. Here it's also nice maybe if you have a blanket or even just a jumper to put under your head, keeping it raised. This variation here is for those of you who feel comfortable with the deeper opening in the hips. The right foot is coming forward, so we have kind of parallel position, the shin with the front of the mat. I'd advise us resting the head on something a little bit higher, despite being able maybe to go all the way down to the floor. Keeps the back longer, it keeps the weight dispersed, it keeps the stretch dispersed. So try and choose for something because it works better, rather than because we think we're going somewhere further. Gentle pressure, stimulus into the forehead. It's relaxing effect. Also allows just that little bit more relaxation along the spine to reach into the pelvic floor. When you're ready, put the hands on the mat, activate the lower belly a little bit more and push yourself back down dog. Settling here for a moment. So then we're going to go on to the other side. Left leg up, crossing it behind the right foot, walking the hands directly back, playing a little bit, seeing if it functions at all for you. Some positions might not, so just skip them. So you can just bend the knees, actually it should be available in that way. And if we keep the hands on something as well, you can support yourself. Try and understand where it's stretching. You don't need to know the names of the muscles. You don't even need to know right now, when you're doing it, what the muscles are for in daily life. Everybody has the ability to close their eyes or open their eyes and feel in and feel where it's touching, where it's stretching. And that's what we also train in yoga, just having time to feel, becoming a little bit more tuned into feeling, experiencing what is happening at all in the body. As we uncross the back leg, pulling the left leg forward, set the foot a little bit closer to the pelvis as you gently give the weight in and support with the hand for the most time. You already are dropping directly onto the left side. It's possible to go directly from that position. For those of you who are comfortable here in the home practice, you might not have something to support yourself. Possible to raise the whole of the hip section with a blanket. It's also possible just to adjust the position of the body in relation to the floor. So here is the full, I would say, maximum organization of the front leg for those of you who feel comfortable with the open hip position. I wouldn't advise going further than the 90-degree angle in this. Keep the foot in a strong flexion when you're here, the left foot. It's still rooting through the legs, it's not passive. The lower belly is not passive. We try to let the heart, though, be soft. We try to let the heart, at least, become a little bit more passive. Pulling in the left foot closer, you can see now how I roll onto the left thigh, pulling in the back leg. Here, supporting the head as well. Same idea as before. Like I said, keep the head just a little bit raised. It disperses the stretch, disperses the weight better. For those of you who want to go into the full stretch, it will reach even more clearly into the inner upper thigh. outer upper thigh, sorry. A little bit of activation, holding the back leg long, holding the floor gently. Remember floor. And perhaps just watching here, what can we come in relationship with our breaths? When we talk about relationship with the breath, Ujjayi is one way we can feel the breath, but there are lots of other ways. Here Ujjayi is probably not also recommended. Instead, try and maybe one way would be to just feel what parts of the body are moving. So it's very physical. What parts of the body are moving as you breathe. Even the smallest movements. The unexpected movements. Coming out, put the foot back in, place the hands, activating the belly and push yourself back. Down dog. Just take a while. Settle into down dog. Organizing the structure so it is stable and easy, and maybe you can now have time to feel if down dog has changed. If it feels different from the first one we did at the beginning of the practice. Knees to the floor, toes up high. It's a variation of Ustrasana. Fingertips on the floor here. Now you might want to have something just settling under the hands. Pushing the pelvis up, but actually the work comes from the knees. So you root down the knees and root along the front of the thighs. Opening the chest at the very last, I would support the head. Only if you feel very comfortable with what is happening in the neck, let the head drop into the hollow of the neck. Mostly I would recommend supporting, but see what feels good for you. Coming out, settling into Vajrasana. Underbook pose. Or an alternative, rest the hands into the lap, close the eyes. Keep the attention low, just letting the breath reach into the hands, settle into the hands like a bowl. And when you're ready, coming out of the pose, sitting onto the mat. Here for Parvrita Janushirasana, it's possible just to keep something under, like a cushion or blanket or a jumper under the left knee. We're keeping the pelvis rooted, so we just give weight. The right leg a little bit active, the knee open. So here you've seen there's ways of coming in which just support the head. It's also nice sometimes to give the fist of the hand or the hand there ready for the head just to rest into. It allows the work, some of the work in the deep muscle of the spine just to relax a little bit. This variation now, the unsupported head variation. We're comfortable with the organization of the shoulders, the space around the neck and the breathing. And the work is going into the floor around the seat. Tension into the wide space of the lower back, very wide. So again, it's kind of an idea, even though there's a turning sense, the top part of the chest will open, but we can pay some attention to the wideness of the back of the lower part of the body, the lower back. Pushing yourself out of the position, pull the long leg in, right leg, and cross the foot over the left knee, keeping the knee high, turn towards the knee. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Just sitting, keeping sitting and then working along the spine, working or sending breath along here, choosing where we pay attention. Releasing from the pose to organize for Parvrita Janushirasana on the other side. Right knee is bent, left leg long. Supporting with a soft left arm, the hand. See, the hand activates. So that the shoulder doesn't need to work, that the rest of the arm doesn't need to work, the hand activates. Sends that information into the center of the body. Drop the head into the hands. Just give a little bit of weight of the right arm overhead and a little intention to stretch through here, the breath we direct it into the right side of the body to open. We give the weight predominantly into the right hip, into our seat. If you turn the gaze down to the floor, it allows the neck to release some of the work. Here is also just a version of the deepest stretch, so you can catch, those of you who also, it can just be a proportion thing, catch the foot with the hands. We're not trying to go away from the center, also physically here. So any kind of movement, even if we're stretching or moving towards an extremity, the idea is not to move away from the center. Something's still collecting. Coming out of the pose, taking the long leg in, crossing it, Ardha Matsyendrasana, we sit. Make it easy, because it's a twist, it's about the twist, it's about what's happening around the spine. Let the legs be here to hold the position. Give a different form to the position, but it's about the spine. It's about the breathing along the spine. We have time to explore what is interesting about breathing and just breathing. Releasing self from the pose. And then when you're ready, rolling yourself onto your back. Spending this moment on the floor, perhaps closing the eyes, laying the hands on the belly, and just experiencing the floor. What does it feel like? Shoulders, back, feet. Dropping the knees into the chest, still concentrating on the back. The earth has its quality of being completely neutral, just being there. So sometimes it's nice to find where that is and pay some attention to it. Maybe it helps to just cool the mind for a moment now. From the little bundle, you can spread the knees, push the feet up to the sky if that's the happy baby variation which you prefer, keeping the feet low. Again, let's give priority to the contact with the floor. The hip opening happens. Just give weight of the knees, of the feet, of the shoulders and elbows. So give weight through the joints. Thinking down. Breath is soft. No need to be strong, no need to have any kind of controlling over the breath here. Releasing yourself from here and taking a moment in an inversion of your choice. Here is the half candle pose. My preferred variation of the candle. If you have ever had or have some problems with the neck, this is probably either to avoid completely or choose at least the half variation. Then the full variation is definitely to avoid. Alternatively, you can just settle the pelvis onto a cushion or something that raises you a little, raises the pelvis over the heart into Vipariti Karini, a more restorative version of the same idea here. Soft tongue, soft throat, soft mouth, jaw, eyes. Going deeper into the exhale, diving into the exhale. As you come out of the pose, it's always possible just to find an ending that suits for you. Kind of also prepare yourself for Shavasana. And then take your own time. The video will end, and you can just relax for a moment longer.